specifics of the stories you tell. Well, let me say this to you. President Obama, to the Republicans and the Democrats, you have a few months left. Here's what I say you can do, because America itself is in turmoil for social issues. All you have to do is put together, I'll just call it this because everybody has a secretary of something. You have a secretary of agriculture, secretary of defense, a secretary of labor, secretary of agriculture, to basically take care of the things you deem to be important. Why wouldn't you just start a secretary of social equality? Why wouldn't you have that department? A department that every day can focus on social equalities. So there are people, regardless of who's in power, they're focused on people having social equality, whether that is from the justice system, whether that's from food, whatever it is, because there are issues that cannot be fixed within a city. Just can't be fixed. But you can have mandates and measurable outcomes that you determine who you give money to.
That's right.
And until you start placing things like that into operation and make sure that the people on the ground who are fighting for this actually is part of that process, then you're never going to get real change. But this letter, I worked on it for about 3 hours. I tried to be politically correct because I'm really bad at that. But then I said, let me just deal with the heart. So it says, Dear Senator Bernard Sanders, Bernie, husband of Jane Sanders, 2016 Democratic presidential candidate, and a fearless leader that has allowed people to try to follow. Let us first say thank you for waking us up and exposing the rigged system that has destroyed America. Your courage has caused millions to rise up, volunteer, and take action. So many of our lives have changed dramatically over the last 6 months to a year, from broken relationships to lasting relationships, to even being called crazy, and some totally dedicating their life to this revolution. The true value of all the aforementioned is that there are no regrets of the losses or the changes, because of the knowledge we've gained far surpasses the losses. Because we are a part of a revolution, which is derived from a Latin word that says turn around. Our fundamental change in political power or organizational structure that takes place in a relatively short period of time, when the population rises in revolt against the current authorities. No revolution can ever entertain conceding, because to concede is to admit that something is true or valid after first denying or resisting it. We have been told, taught, and have bought into that the current system is bad, false, corrupt, and owned by the corporations. Never ask us to enter into that system that we believe, bought in, and know is corrupt, rigged, and owned by the corporations. We stand with you by the millions. For that reason, we the people come to you asking and requesting that you stand strong, never concede or never endorse a system that is filled with corruption, greed, and backdoor deals. We are aware of all the numbers of who has the most votes, the most delegates, but we also know of all the fraud that took place in the process. We know that you are inside of the system, but we do not believe you are part of the system. Please stand strong for those that have stood for you, with, and are still standing for you. Dr. King said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Well, we're in times of controversy and challenge. So we're asking that you continue to stand with us. And to the city of Philadelphia, to its mayor, to the individuals that make the decisions, and to the Democratic Party, it behooves you
Yes.
to figure out how you engage those that live in the city. They will be in the city when we leave, but we will not leave the city without leaving our remnants with them. They need permits. They need to be able to march, and then they need to benefit from the economic influx that is coming into this city.
Sure.
Somebody should be in a better shape than what they are today, if nothing but cleaning your streets to start with. Having said that, thank you all. There's a lot of work to be done. April 26th, we will be marching.
July 26th. July 26th, we will be
July
marching.
26th.
I will also say, if the delegates, those who are coming, part of the as delegates for the convention, if they believe in the true democratic process, they will come into the communities and they will listen to the communities and they will challenge the city to stop blocking out the voices of the masses.
Bruce, Senator Sanders today said that he would vote for Hillary. So does that change anything on what you guys have just talked about?
I'll tell you what he said. He did say, will you vote for Hillary Clinton if she's the nominee or in the general election? He said yes. I watched it, 10 times because everybody was like, what is going on? But he also said other things. So my question is this: it doesn't change anything. I think Gary said it best. Senator Sanders, at the end of the day, has one vote to cast. That's the way that goes. But I also explained to a lot of people, as of today, I understand Senator Sanders has been, and in most regards considered by the Democratic Party an independent. So I'm sitting in this paper and all this black ink. I can't just ostracize the black ink. But here's what I would love to do. I would love to ask him that question on July 29th. Because on July 29th, there's a lot of things that can happen. So until July 29th happens, I'm still doing everything I can to hope that there's an option for him to run for president. And I always thought that it's kind of stupid to ask me if I'm in the basketball game, am I going to give them the trophy and I still got time on the clock? So until he say that I'm no longer a presidential candidate, then those are questions that really make no sense to me, because also as of yesterday, he's still a presidential candidate. Now, whether he wins or not remains to be seen. But also, as she just said, there's more than two parties. Where we go, what we do, we won't decide until after July. But the bottom line is there are millions who have decided what they will not do. And I think that's what's important for those that we continue to have relationships to. And for the millions that we will register in 10 swing states, they will have a voice in this race also.
Are you going to register them as Democrats, independents, or what's
What I'm going to do is I'm going to educate them. And then I'm going to say, here's what this party does, here's what this party says they does and what they really do. Here are the people in this party, they're rich, they're poor, and here's what has happened under this regime, and here's some other alternatives. Or you know what you do? Just be registered, and let's see who we go to when the time is right, based on the candidate and not a party. Because I believe there are some great people, unfortunately in America, that have to register as a Republican, but they're really good people. I believe that some people that call themselves Democrats should not be able to hold a bucket of bad water with poop in it. That's what I believe. So I don't care about the parties. So the deregistration that will take place on the 28th, if Senator Sanders is not the nomination, will be a deregistration from the Democratic Party, and there will be a registration for what our best option is at that time. So if 2 or 3 million leave and then we register another 5 or 10 million, I think that we have a voice, because at the end of the day, we're not going to operate in fear. I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. I've had white men that's been the president that really didn't care about different people. That doesn't scare me. I've lived that life. So there are people that's been poor. They're not afraid of that. The only people that's afraid are the people who don't want to be uncomfortable.
That's right.
It's uncomfortable for me every day when I get up and travel in the states where people cut my trucks off. I worry if my tires are going to be flat, or they're going to come in and shoot my room up. I'm beyond the fear. I'm sorry, next question.
Can you talk a little bit about the tour, I guess, of the barbershops? I mean, what's the plan going forward?
We actively have crews in Missouri, Iowa, that are personally going into every barbershop explaining to these brothers that, man, you have to get in the game. Even if they say you can't vote, we're prepared to sue every state that does not allow a person to vote based on their past, and even the United States. And I believe it's sad on the United States in federal elections to have not put in policies that say people have the right to vote for Congress and the president regardless of their background, and that should be universal. But we're prepared to fight for those rights until they're rendered to those brothers. And if we want to make blocks safe, let the people in their community police their community. But inside of that, give them stuff that people don't have to do illegal activities. Make it level, and then we'll hold people accountable. If you're eating, you got money, you don't have no business taking from her. But if I'm able to make enough money, I'm gonna make sure that she's not hungry. It happened before. It happened in Tulsa before it was bombed and destroyed. Black Wall Street, inside of their world, they were one of the richest places, and they didn't have hunger, they didn't have poverty, they didn't have crime. It was destroyed. So if they could do it back in the early 1900s, it could be done, but it needs to be done in small blocks. North Philly needs to take care of North Philly if you give them the resources. South Philly, we come together. We don't have to be mad at each other. We can come and eat together, but we can go back and eat in our own places. Yes?
Can you speak a little bit more to the events that are going to be sponsored here in the DNC?
In regards to the partners that we're working with, we have a march that comes in from Washington that lands here in Philly that will basically be unified across the country with the ringing of bells. Then we have what we call We the People Restoration Rally and Finale. It's a 2-day event where we have individuals across the country that will be chiming in under what's called What's Wrong in America. So that means people will have a platform to come in and represent their city, and then their people back in their city are allowed to listen in, because we will affect city council races, mayoral races, county commissioners, aldermen, state reps across the country, and we will do it in mad forces, and we will not stop. So that's why the barbershops are important. That's why we started in the back of a barbershop, because at the end of the day, for us as black men, and I didn't even get one, you give me a good haircut and a good shave, I'm now worth $1 million. I think James Brown said, I look good and make me feel good, and I can make something happen. So at the barbershop, we're gonna start with making you feel good, and then we're gonna have some substance along the way. Yes, ma'am.
Senator Sanders, and also what I'm hearing from you today, has been talking about a political revolution, and you seem to be going beyond where he's willing to go. But when the dust settles in November after the vote, what's the next step? I mean, it seems like from what I'm hearing the young people talk about, we really need an economic revolution.
Well, that's what we're building. We're building that, but for us, we have 200 cities. So we have a 24-month commitment already. And I think that that's what's going to be the surprising element, that they believe. There's an establishment that believes this is going to die out. Well, what happens is sometimes you wake up the wrong people. So they talked about and joked about having calluses on their feet. So they've been doing this work for years. They're not going to stop just because some vote was cast. So what has happened, people who've been in the fight have been able to connect and find some commonalities. So now we do this. She holds me accountable to what I tell her. She holds her accountable. She holds him accountable. And when that accountability takes place, because I'm the one that says, none of y'all will outwork me. So he says, I'll outwork you. So we find friendly ways to challenge one another and make sure that we get up every day. So this is not new to us. This is just the first time we were able to sit down last night and figure out, oh, we got the same problems. No matter how we look, what we eat, where we sleep, our zip code, we have the same problems, and it's going to take us to fix those problems.
Do you feel as if you have any options going to the voting booth in November?
Always. Always. And then, of course you do. There is 4 different options today at the polling booth, correct? So I have to choose one of those 4 if I want to vote.
But any good option.
Well,
That's
your question.
No,
I'm gonna leave that with Erica.
I mean, if you're talking Republican versus Democrat, it means do you choose fascism over imperialism?
Yeah.
If you're talking straight Democrat, it means picking the lesser of two evils.
So, what that says to me is, it's very difficult for any of us to believe that any one person can fix our ills. But some of the things that we endure, we don't have to endure if one of them cared enough. So when you use your powers to send us to war, if you would use those same powers to make sure that I'm going to rebuild one community at a time that's really broken and it's really rebuilt to build a model, then I believe that we have some things that we can talk about. So up until this point, I haven't seen a president that has put the work in, especially in not just blacks, and I hope that people caught it at the beginning. They didn't just talk about black people, they talk about people that have been disenfranchised and what the commonalities are. People do not care about people, and I'm saying the people in power in Washington, in a large group. There are some that do. They don't care about people to that degree. The Department of Justice has failed continually when young black men have been murdered, when they can't go in and put you in prison or do what you would do to me if I sold some dope. I didn't kill nobody, I sold some dope. And you didn't even catch me selling dope. Somebody told you I sold dope. And for you reporters, I don't sell dope. I just use that as an analogy. There are too many people that we freely incarcerate because they don't have value. So we have to stop building up politicians as being celebrities. They're nothing but public servants before they get that, and that's all they are. And we're going to teach that process to our people.
I will also add that politicians only keep the system of poverty, crime, and punishment functioning under the orders of white supremacy.
Black Men for Bernie started in March, is that correct?
Yes, March.
And is it true that your tour is ending in November? It sounds like your tour is cities is starting a little further than that.
Our tour probably will never end because there's work we'll do. But we have 200 cities that we will go in. We will effectively start in Florida with a campaign that's called Take Down Debbie. And we will...
Debbie.
That means we will be in canvassing registered voters, and we will tell them the pros and cons of both candidates, all candidates. But at the end of the day, we have bucket lists that we've created, and we'll be in every state. And until we have real change, we'll keep working.
Have you been working with organizations that are on the ground in each of the cities that you're traveling to? Like
Yes. Every city that we go in, from New Jersey to Philadelphia, every California, we have relationships that we work with. From example, July 5th, a hunger strike will start against the incarceration there. And so we'll be a part of that. And it just grows. So we now have, we just have people that work together across the country now.
So after the election takes place, do you see yourself changing the name of the
No.
organization? No.
We thought about changing it, but I started my company because my daughter asked me who I voted for. I didn't vote for anyone. Had I voted in March, on March 2nd, I would have voted for Hillary Clinton. That's why I hate ignorance. I hate it because of that. It drives me. So, because of that, she's the one that told me about Senator Sanders. And personally, I appreciate the work he's done. I've met him several times. I've seen a person, I believe his heart is good for people. So for me, when you see Black Men for Bernie, it could be Black Men for Integrity, Black Men for Change, Black Men for Equality, Black Men for Human Rights. So it won't change. And at the end of the day, the tagline that nobody ever talks about, it says restoring families across America. And until we've done that, we've done nothing. So whether he is the president, a sitting senator, an individual back in Vermont doing anything, I believe for me, at an early age, as a young man, when he decided to fight for equality for various issues, I hear people say, but that was 50 years ago. I say, that's okay. I always look at the heart of a person. So I believe if his heart was right for equality, then I believe that some of the other work, standing on the floor, arguing for 8 hours when everybody walk out on you, fighting for amendments, being known as the Amendment King, were things that you found out were wrong. You initially went in and fought for amendments and got amendments done to them. Then, because I'm never looking for a perfect person, but I'm looking for a real person. And as I said, we have differences, but at the end of the day, nobody can attack her now because they're going to have problems from me.
That's right.
So that's what we have to do. We have to let things that bring us together allow us to work together and never let the other things separate us, because the common goal is better than anything else. And that's where I hope that we can find some common ground. And I just don't see it in the Democratic Party at all.
My last question. You mentioned that you're working in barbershops, you're targeting a certain age demographic of men, especially given what you said about your daughter sort of being the catalyst in this organization. Do you feel that that excludes women?
No, I have 5 daughters. What it does is, I believe that if we want our communities to be stronger, men should be the natural protector. If we lock them up and don't allow that to take place, Erica believes she can knock me out. But the chances are, if because of my makeup, if I attack Erica, I'm gonna win. So when you remove me out the way, it's easier to attack Erica. And for those reasons, our families have been decimated because of that. So yeah, I can get Erica pregnant. I can't have a baby. Erica, now I'm out the way. Erica got to go to work. So now the baby has to go somewhere. So Erica's not called a bad mom. But at least if I was out of work to go bring some money home, even if I'm not with her, she don't have to do all the other stuff. So there are some things that naturally take place when you take men out. And I think Senator Sanders said it best in Philly at a breakfast. The unemployment rate for young adults was 50 to 60%. And it was simply said, at some point, a man's gonna do what he gotta do to get some money. And then there's a system in place for that man or that person. So for me, I just believe that I have the ability to reach out to these young males, give them love that maybe they haven't had, maybe because their dad's locked up or the relationship didn't work, but whatever it is, give that to them and let him. This young man here, he's in Philadelphia. How old is he, son? 20. When I leave Philadelphia, I don't leave him, but he can't find a job. He doesn't know what to do. There's nothing in place that's really in place to help him. There's programs, but the programs really are not designed to help him. They're designed for the person doing the program to meet the qualifications. And then when they go through the program, there's nothing on the other side of the program. So they need to come in and see that, man, there's really people fighting for me who don't want to meet my mama. They don't want nothing for me, but they will hold me accountable. So what has he been doing? Cleaning up the streets of Philadelphia. He's not getting paid. Look, let me show you how to get your heart right. And if we get these young men to that point, I just know this. It'll be better. They'll be better. Communities will be better. And our country can start to restore families. And then hopefully when it comes time to elections, they say, you're not coming over here. And they say it as a community. Not the one guy that gets the check to come in and hire the other people and give them $25 to pimp the people. And that's the system that the Democrats have used for so long, or they pimp the black churches because the pastors don't care. The pastors got a white envelope and some money, and so they stand before the older women and say, this is our candidate, because that's how they operate. But when you put young men in places, and her, I don't have to fire her after this, in place, we're educated. We're educated now. They'll take care of the young women. It's not a separation, but they can have those conversations and say things to them that I can't say. I can say conversations to them, to the young men, that they'll say, but a lot of women won't say. So that's why we focus on the young men.
How many barbershops are you going to go to here in Philadelphia?
Every last one of them.
Have you started that already,
In
or-
Pennsylvania. Well, this is our office.
Philadelphia in particular?
Well, this is
Just this one?
no. This is our office.
Right.
We ran commercials that basically asked for barbershops to contact us, and we will not just in Philadelphia, but in the state of Pennsylvania. We will go to every barbershop. We
So
will,
by request.
no, we will visit every barbershop in Pennsylvania,
Well, that's been pretty good.
in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in North Carolina, in Virginia, in Florida,
How many
in
barbershops are there here in Philadelphia?
I think based on the stats, it was over 200, but here's the problem. Every barbershop is not advertising, so you actually need to get in every block and maybe go down, do research. But there is a organization that has it, but this barbershop wasn't a part of the organization. So you just got to get in here, spend time in the community, and you'll find the one that has just the one barber versus the one that has 6 barbers.
How many
I want
people
to
you
add
have doing
something else
this?
about. I just want to add something real quick about the focus on black men too. I think that's also, again, it speaks to the truth of us uniting on the things that we do agree with and sort of recognizing the things that we disagree with, but not letting that undermine our unity. And so the Philly Coalition for Real Justice as a whole has a different take on the sort of perspective of focusing on black men, where it is a very unique experience compared to the experience of black women. But we don't particularly take a stance in saying whether or not that is a higher or lower priority. But at the root of it, again, we're bringing it back to the fact that this isn't about whether or not Black Men for Bernie focus on black men. This is about us, groups of black people and organizations working together to uplift black people. So even if we have a difference on who our target demographic is, there are going to be people that Black Men for Bernie can reach out to that the Philly Coalition for Real Justice, just by capacity alone, won't be able to reach out to. And there's going to be people that the Philly Coalition for Real Justice will have the interest and capacity to reach out to that Black Men for Bernie won't have the scope or focus to reach out to. And I think that's okay, but it is still important to sort of underline and recognize the fact that with that in particular, the groups that are working together do have sort of different approaches and opinions about the sort of the context of like black men and the role in the family and things along those nature, but that's not really the focus of the meeting today.
Well said. Ditto.
You mind just saying, repeating your name?
Cornelius Lee.
Before are there any other questions?
I have a question. I believe Bernie Sanders had some type of call for his followers to be more involved in politics as far as running and becoming candidates. And you've shown such great leadership. We need great black leaders in this generation, you know, the history of our leaders. I know Gary Frazier has answered Mr. Sanders' call impeccably and we support him in Canada. Have you considered, I know it's not your lane, you're more of a
No.
businessman.
The answer is no.
What are your thoughts?
I think I know where you're going, but the answer is no. I have, yeah, I mean.
You can't blame me for asking.
Well,
we want to see you,
you know,
up there.
I think I've said it. I have no desire to be any party's vice president, as there has been. I come to put work. You know, 3.5 months ago, I was running my businesses and doing what I do, and I'm really fine with that. But being able to activate and see this. Remember I told you all 2 months ago, it was a whole different set. We're standing out front of a stadium. The police is trying to engage them. They're trying to engage me. And it was a conversation that I didn't understand. But what has happened too long, black people have been too easily divided. So the fact that they're saying whatever our common grounds are, that's our glue. The things that they desire to do away and in their own lane, and some things I probably would participate. You know, they don't mind going to jail. I don't want to go to jail. But if I have to go to jail, I may go once with them. But they don't care. They're like, hey, handcuffs don't mean nothing. But at the end of the day, they're in the streets. They put the work in. And that's what's important to me. Give me people whose heart is right for the work. I'll go with them any day. Forget the suit and ties. That's who I want to be with. We can eat together, cry together, fight together, win together. And that's what excites me about where we are today. And I didn't expect to see her. She didn't call me. We just seen each other in an impromptu place, and it was good. So all I can tell you to tell them, man, there is some change gonna take place in Philly. The DNC will have people bring it to them, and they need to come out and they need to deal with the people. That's the bottom line. I mean, they need to deal with the people who depend on the government that we live in, right, wrong, and indifferent, to play a role of fairness. That's the common goal. And to finish your question, I personally believe, for me, if I go and get 3,000 people to run for office, it's better than me running for office. Does that answer your question? All right.
I don't feel that way, but
I just want to ask really quickly about the deregistration process in Chevy. You mentioned that after the DNC, correct that Bernie is not like a speaker candidate. You will host a deregistration process?
Black Man for Bernie will host a deregistration on the 28th. Black Man for Bernie will. I think there are some other groups that are pausing to do deregistration on the 24th, and that's their prerogative.
What does that look like?
What does I don't know what theirs look like.
I mean,
Mine looks like for me, we bring out voter registration from every state. We also have computers that people can literally tear up their Democratic card, and they can register in their state where they are. And we will also do a live streaming and ask the people who are part of other movements, the Bernie or Bust, or the hundreds of thousands that have taken the pledge, to do the same thing. And then we will ask them to go out and recruit 10 people to register non-democratic, and then we will ask that group to do another 10.
You want them to register as independents?
I want them to register as independents, correct. That's what I want. But they may hear things over the next 4 or 5 months that make them want to be with the Green Party. They may want to be a libertarian. They may want to have such a direct impact in this upcoming election that they do that.
Currently, I understand that there are actually more voters registered as independent than in the Democratic.
Definitely,
Which is good.
It's great.
Then, how do we organize that? How do you see that being organized to be a force in the future?
Well,
right now, most states don't allow those independent voters to vote in.
Here's what I believe will happen. I believe that people are aware, and with social media, that there are organizations that people trust, that they are starting to gain more knowledge of, and there are holding centers that's being put together for independence. And I believe over the next 18 months to 2 years that a strong third party will come up out of that, and that party will represent independence. It'll represent people that don't believe in the system, that has said, I would never vote, but I'll try this right now. And for that reason, I think we register as many people as we possibly can. But I'd rather deal with having 90 million registered voters and what we do with them than to not have them.
And if I could add to that, Bruce,